One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University. I'm an author, speaker, and psychologist. And each week at Love University, we talk about how to help other people love yourself, others, in a higher nature. Now, today I have a special treat for you. I've been interviewed by America's Love Doctor. I used to call myself that, but I guess she has the name now. And she's the America's most trusted relationship expert, Dr. Teri Orbuch, an author, speaker, therapist, and professor, as well as author of 6 books and 1,000 articles on love and relationships. She's been has a show on PBS, and today she's going to talk to me about guy types, my latest book on identifying your ideal partner. Let's listen in, see what happens.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. Now, did you know that there are 4 distinct types of men depending on their romantic personalities? And are you interested then in learning more about where you fit or what man is right for you? Well, today's program is all about finding love by classifying guys into their distinct romantic personalities. My guest today is Dr. Alex Avila. He is an award-winning psychologist who holds 4 graduate degrees, including a PhD in clinical psychology. Dr. Avila's first book, Love Types, has been an international bestseller, helping over 40 million followers find compatible relationships and lasting love. In his latest book called Guy Types, he unveils a groundbreaking system for finding love by classifying guys into what I call 4 distinct romantic personalities. And you can learn more about him and his books at guytypes.com. So welcome to the program, Dr. Alex. Wonderful to have you with us today.
Yes, thank you. And I got to congratulate you. You got my name Avila perfect. So that's wonderful.
Yay, I was so worried about that. I am not good with names.
Yes,
but that is great. Thank you, Avila. A-V-I-L-A.
You got it. That's perfect.
So now, before we get started on your new book, tell us a little bit more about you. What inspired you to become a psychologist? And you even call yourself a love empowerment psychologist.
Yeah, basically, yes. So I was actually in an incompatible relationship, and I started to ask, why is it that people get involved in the wrong kind of relationships? You fall in love with someone maybe based on attractiveness or charm, and they realize that you're not really compatible deep down. So I did research with the Myers-Briggs personality type, Jungian personality types, and I wrote the book Love Types, which became an international bestseller. And basically the idea of how to really, first of all, embrace yourself internally, and then find someone who resonates with your style. So when I talk about love empowerment, I say first empower yourself. You may be a unique personality. Maybe you're a philosopher personality or a scientist or whatever it might be, and you may not embrace yourself until maybe later in life, but that's the key to finding love, is to first love yourself and embrace your unique style.
I love that. You're so right, because if you can't have confidence in who you are and your qualities, then no one else can appreciate those qualities in you.
Definitely. Yeah, I even wrote a book called The Gift of Shyness that talks about the shy and introvert personality. And I'm actually an introvert and shy person myself. But there are actually qualities. There are actually benefits to being introvert and shy. And recently, another book came out, The Power of Introversion. It talks about that. The introvert or shy people are often good listeners. They can be empathetic and sensitive. But many times they sell themselves short. They don't really feel they're worthy of a good relationship because they're unique. So what I do is I empower people to find your uniqueness in your personality type, and then find that guy type or that love type that resonates with who you are, that compatible partner.
And before we get to the guy types, Dr. Alex, you said that you're shy and introverted. So all this research, all this writing of books, has it helped you and your own relationships?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I when I was in high school, I was very shy. I didn't really go out much. But then I started developing different abilities like acting, martial arts, even dancing. I became a good dancer. And I developed confidence, and I even took improvisational acting classes. And as a result, I incorporated all this into my work I do with clients and people, is to help them basically find their inner actor, that inner part of themselves that's confident and has personality, even if they're introvert or shy. Because introvert people, it doesn't mean that they're not sociable. They can be very sociable, but they get tired. They have a certain amount of energy that they exhaust, and then they need to recharge their batteries. And shy people are a little more sensitive to being judged or criticized, so they often can be a little bit withdrawing. But all these have positive elements. So what I try to teach people is how to master within yourself, those positive elements, and then resonate them externally so you can attract the right people in your life.
I love that, the inner actor within yourself.
Yes.
And so find that, what does that mean? Does that mean find the person who can present in front of people or be true? Or what does that mean,
Yeah, well, I
inner
think it's the
actor?
authentic nature, the part of yourself that is confident. All of us have a part of ourselves that's confident, sexy, and charming. But sometimes we have other aspects, the what I call the self-defeating thoughts that says you're not attractive enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough. And these may come from childhood or other environmental situations. And that kind of pushes us down. So what we want to do is develop that inner actor, that positive part of us that's confident, and also that's loving. And I talk a lot about loving energy without expectation. When you're out there in the social world, smile at people, give compliments, and be kind. And that loving energy without expectation is the key to connect with others. Because many times we have expectations. Will they like me? Will they respond back? And we're afraid. And many times fear rules people's dating lives. I'm going to be rejected. They're not going to like me as much as I like them. But when you do it without expectation, you actually extend your energy in a positive way. And then eventually someone will resonate with that and they will be attracted to your loving energy. And you'll have a great combination.
Right. And we know science shows, Dr. Alex, that when people are positive and optimistic, people are attracted to that person and those qualities.
Yes.
We are attracted to positivity, to hopefulness, to someone who is optimistic. Okay, so let's move to guy types, your latest book. What motivated you to write that book and help us understand those 4 styles of guys?
Yes. Well, love types has been very successful. It was used in the #1 dating site in China. But it came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I thought, well, it's time for an update. It's time to kind of streamline it a little bit, make it a little more understandable for people to apply. So instead of 16 love types, I came up with the 4 guy types, 4 what we call love temperaments, personality styles. And also I applied it to our current situation with social media and networking and internet marketing, how to basically meet someone through a romantic networking scenario using the 4 personality groups. And therefore, really it's a lot easier now. It's a lot more simple with today's internet and other ways that people can meet by applying these 4 personality types to first identify your type and then find the right person for you or the right guy in the case of a female.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, what are the 4 types?
Okay, good. So, Teri, we have what are called the meaning seekers. Meaning seekers are those people that are intuitive and emotional. They love psychology, philosophy, spirituality, and the arts. They're they're artists, the creators, often psychologists, writers, and teachers. And they make about 12% of the population or less. Then we have what are called the knowledge seekers. These are our scientific people, our inventors, engineers, technology people, people that value competence, intelligence, very logical, very intuitive. Then we have what are called the excitement seekers. These are the fun-loving people that like to go out and have fun, whether socially, sometimes party-oriented, or also outdoors. We have what we call the quiet thrill seekers. They like bungee jumping, river rafting, parachuting, things like that, outdoor individuals. And finally, we have the security seekers. These are the bedrock of society, the people that love family, tradition, security, and responsibility. There are bankers, our accountants, people that organize us, to keep us in a good way. So I'm kind of curious, Dr. Teri, which one of those are you?
So, well, which one am I, or which one do I want?
Well, first of all, which one are you? Which resonated more with who you think you are?
Wow, well, you see, it's probably a little bit of both. And that was going to be my question, Dr. Alex. I see myself as a little bit of both. I am creative and psychology oriented, as you said, but I also like science, right? Yes. Okay. But I'm very much oriented toward security and reliability, and I'm family oriented, but I love exciting, risk-taking kinds of activities.
Okay. Wow, you're multitasking, multi-talented.
Well, but and is it possible to be a little bit of all, or does one person fit into only one category?
Yeah, well, you can have what I call a primary type, and then you can have a secondary type. So maybe you are a meaning seeker because you love psychology, philosophy, and helping people. But maybe there is a part of you that loves excitement and a little bit of different things. And the way I teach people, there's 2 ways to find out. First of all, you can ask what I call the magic questions. So you can ask yourself these questions and also other people.
Okay, what are those?
Oh, okay, let's get into it.
Magic questions.
Yes, I know you like that magic. Okay, so number 1, Teri,
like
is
magic, right? Or I like questions. That probably puts me back into that, knowledge seeker. I like questions that you can identify yourself, and I know listeners will too.
Okay, Dr. Teri. So first of all, what's your favorite movie?
The Big Chill.
And why do you like it?
I like it because friends get together and they talk and they reminisce and they continue to do that in the future. And I love that idea of keeping in touch with friends.
Okay, good. And so it sounds like you're kind of a feeler in a way. You value relationships and you have an emotional side too from your answer.
Yes.
And
Yes, that is so true. Relationships
yeah,
are in my life, both professional and personal.
yeah, you talked about relationships. Now, someone would answer the question like saying, I love, the science fiction movie because of the way it was made, or I like the way people thought about it, or the plot. They're more of a thinking personality. So they're a little more of the logical, analytical style. And again, these are different personalities. It's not that one is better. They're just different styles. What would you do if you won $10 million? Let's say after this show, we get a $10 million contract that goes to you. What would you do with that money?
Oh, first of all, I love these questions, Dr. Alex. I tell single people to ask these questions when they're out on dates, by the way.
They're normal, everyday questions. People don't even know that
Yeah.
you're looking at them in a personality way, but it's a good way to find out.
Exactly. So what would I do with $1 million?
Correct.
I would give some away
Right.
to some organizations that I feel very strongly
Yes.
about, and then I would travel.
Okay. And then with the rest of the money, the rest of your life, what would you do?
I would continue to travel.
Okay, cool.
Travel costs a lot of money, and I
Yes.
would love to go to more places than I've been. So I would continue to work, though. That's an interesting point that a lot of
Okay.
people think that they would stop working. I
Yes.
would continue to work, but I would travel a lot.
So Terry, let's say I have 2 tickets to a nice trip tomorrow. We're inviting you, let's say to Hawaii, for example, but it's a work day. Would you go?
Yes.
Oh, you would? Okay.
I would.
Yeah, so you would basically schedule everything away and just take off just like that, spontaneously.
Yes, I would.
Okay. So you're normally a spontaneous person? Are you a little bit messy, disorganized, and late? Or are you on time, organized, and structured?
No, I'm definitely organized, structured, on time, reliable, hardworking.
Okay. So would you really take
but-
off just like that? You got a radio show tomorrow, you got things to do, you would just take off for no reason? Or would you need to plan it?
Well, I would maybe see if I could re-plan those things that I have to do tomorrow.
Okay.
But I would actually try to do that.
Okay,
Yeah, I
interesting,
would.
interesting. Okay.
For travel, yes. For like
Okay.
going out to dinner or a movie, no.
Okay. So Dr. Terry, based on those questions, I would say that you are what we call a security seeker at one level, which is someone that's kind of like a caretaker personality. They can be a loving person, kind of like a perfect mom in some ways, and they love tradition and response and security, and also long-term things like loyalty. Does that sound anything like you?
Yes. I like loyalty. I like commitment, and family relationships are important.
Exactly.
Yes.
And yeah, so you might be, and also in terms of your energy style, another question would be, what do you do for fun in your spare time, Terry?
I exercise. I go to the market. I go to different activities in the city, like events and things like that. I love to find events in the city.
Okay. Are you more of a person that gets energy from other people or from your own thoughts?
Oh, other people.
Okay. So you're a very sociable, you could say extrovert person, you think?
Yes, I would say that.
Okay.
Although you're doing this on me, Alex.
I know. This is kind of cool.
Both that you're listening about me, but also you're taking some of these questions and asking yourself. So keep going. I'm sorry, Dad.
Definitely. Okay. So definitely, I think you do have a security seeker style. Now, you might have a little bit of excitement seeker in the background. That could be a secondary style. But definitely, I can see that you are what we call a dutiful hostess in the love types. You're basically someone who likes to entertain people, maybe throw parties and events. You're probably good at planning and organizing things, and you like the social aspect of life. You like people to feel comfortable and happy in social situations. Does that sound anything like you, Terry?
Like me. I'm definitely very social, and I definitely entertain for as much as I can. Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So therefore, let's say that you want to find someone, they usually want someone that's compatible or similar to your type. For example, if you're a security seeker, you might want to find a man that's like that. Maybe a man who's a traditionalist type, who's very strong-minded, has a good energy, very, very protective. It has a kind of a masculine style, kind of a traditional style. And that might be a good combination for someone who's a security seeker. And that, because you interact better, right? When you have someone that matches your values and your deepest core. And sometimes people say the opposites attract, and sometimes they do, but often it's similarities that stay together long-term. That actually works out.
Right. And I
So,
agree with you on that one, Dr. Alex, because my research following couples for over 30 years
yes,
finds that similarity in those underlying core values is
yes,
the number one predictor of people staying together over time and happy.
absolutely. And I say that, there's one place where you might see the opposites seem to attract and stay together, and that's in the movies, romantic movies. Because you might see, she's a Harvard sociologist and he's a homie from the hood, and they kind of meet each other in a weird way, and they fall in love, and the bullets fly, and he rescues her, and then they get married. But then in the real world, what would happen, 10 years later if they're so different in life? Chances are they might not be compatible. But in the movies, it works because we like conflict, and conflict is based on differences. So we have extreme differences. You see that in terms of entertainment, but in real life, there could be a lot of conflict and problems if you're very different in your deepest values.
So, one thing is similarity in terms of core underlying values,
Yes.
but you can have differences or opposites in terms of movie preferences or
Yes.
music likes or hobbies or even what you might want to do for excitement.
Exactly.
So let's first remind listeners as well about some of those questions, Dr. Alex, like asking someone about their favorite movie, what would they do if they won $1 million?
Yes.
What they do in their free time, what they like to do on the weekends. Those are some of the questions that you can ask a partner or somebody to find out what type they are, correct?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the fun question is basically, are you introvert or extrovert? Introverts like to maybe stay home more, have a few close friends, and do quiet things. And extroverts like to go out and socialize a lot. So it's how they get their energy. The movie question has to do with, are you a thinker or a feeler? I love the movie because of the relationships, and it was sensitive. Or I liked it because of the plot, and it was very intellectually stimulating. And the other question, Terry, on the $10 million question is, what do you do with the money? Are you going to invest it, save it, maybe enjoy it on sensual things like traveling? Or are you going to create something like start a new foundation? Are you going to change the world and go to Mars with the money or something like that? Something kind of imaginative or very creative. And lastly, when I ask you about if you want to take off to, let's say, Hawaii or Vegas tomorrow, a work day, are you spontaneous? Are you the kind of person that just takes off and does things like that? Or are you more of a planner and schedule-oriented person? And these are very important because in relationships, you often find people that can be different. For example, the introvert with the extrovert. And we find that research shows that females who are extrovert have more problems with introvert males than any other combination in chores, finances, communication, and sex. Because many times they don't, she might think that he's not very strong-minded because he's quieter and, she kind of takes charge more. And he might think she's overbearing. So one of the keys here, Terry, is do you respect each other's style? And that's something that's also very important. If you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship and there's a lot of good things about it, you might have a couple differences. So do you really respect and appreciate the partner's difference? That's another element that's important.
Very good. So if there are differences, can you respect those differences and move forward? Or as I see, many people are trying to change their partner. He is an introvert and I'm an extrovert.
Exactly.
And I'm not respecting or accepting it. I'm trying to change it. So what you're arguing or telling us is that if we can accept it, then maybe an introvert and an extrovert might work and go forward.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the other side. Like the extrovert can give the introvert more socialization and got to give them out of their shell. And the introvert may help the extrovert calm down and kind of relax more. So if you see it as a benefit, it can work to a certain extent. But again, if you have many differences in personality type, then you can have some big issues in terms of long-term happiness. So our goal is to basically avoid, obviously, divorce and breakups from the very beginning, to teach people how to identify that ideal person, the ideal guy type, or if you're a guy, the ideal love type, and how to connect with that person.
So do I first identify my own and then who I need? That's what I need to do. You're telling listeners, identify my own.
Yes. Guy types, we have certain questions you can ask yourself, kind of what we just did. And then once you know your type, then you can go out there and maybe romantically network, like join internet groups or offline groups that resonate with who you are. For example, if you're a meaning seeker, you love psychology, so you can join a psychology group or a spiritual organization. If you're more of an excitement seeker, you might join a river rafting club or something related to travel or socialization. So there's a lot of little things that you can do. The other thing
I like that. So knowing yourself, then you can find ways to connect with people who are similar to you.
Yes, and in the book I even talk about being like a little romantic networker, kind of like a profiler. You know how we do it with in criminal areas, but actually profiling people psychologically based on their type. For example, someone who uses a lot of emoticons, it could be a feeling personality because they express themselves emotionally.
I like that. My son, I just texted my son this morning, Dr.
Yes.
Alex, and I used
Yes.
like 20, emojis. And he was like, oh no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I love emojis.
Yeah, you're a feeler, right? Now, a thinker might be more logical about it and a little more dry in their online communications and their texting. So you can
Wait,
actually.
I got to ask you, Dr.
Yes.
Alex, as long as you know what I'm all about, what are you? What romantic style are you?
Well, I can tell you, you can figure it out. But I'm a kind of a what we call a meaning seeker personality. So I'm into spirituality, psychology, and the meaning of life. I'm very intuitive and creative. So that is also a unique personality. So, I think all of us have value. And one thing, Terry, I want to tell you, this is really kind of cool, and maybe we can even collaborate, is I have something called the Dating Masquerade Party. People put on masks, and then they have their love types or their personalities like a sticker, and then they interact based on their type. And I call it depth dating. So you get to know the person from the inside out first, and then at midnight, the mask comes off. Instead of Cinderella, I call it Typerella. So you meet your ideal type based on personality type.
I like that, Dr. Alex. You call it depth dating because you learn about the person, their inner soul and
Exactly.
qualities rather than looking at their face and their physical qualities.
Exactly. So if you want to join me, come on down with your mask and we can put on a little event in the LA area.
That would be super. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in the LA area, Southern California.
And what types of clients, too, do you work with? We only have a few more minutes, and
Sure.
I know listeners are wondering what types of clients do you work with? And, are you able to do Skype kinds of, counseling?
Yeah, I work with singles, introvert, shy singles, people that want to find their soulmate. I work with couples that are having relationship issues. I do Skype. I have offices here in Southern California. I do actually a lot of traveling also. So sometimes I do book tours, and I can even meet people where they're at sometimes. Where are you located, Dr. Terry?
I am in Michigan.
Ah, Michigan. Is that Detroit in the car area?
Detroit, Michigan, yes,
perfect.
Midwest.
Okay.
I'm a Midwest gal, as
that's cool.
listeners
Maybe
know.
maybe we can put on a little dating masquerade out there and get people to come out of their shell.
I think that would be great. I like that idea, and
Yes.
really the idea of depth dating to learn
Yes.
and seek out those core values before you see the physical qualities.
Yeah.
Now, I
exactly.
have to ask you too, Dr. Alex, before
Yes.
we leave, what about women? I know you wrote this book called Guy Types.
Yes.
Is your next book on women and the romantic styles for women?
Are you talking about for men to meet women? Is that what you're asking?
Or just, Guy Types, that book is all about 4 romantic styles of men.
Yes.
And so it seems like it's a book all on men.
Interestingly enough, it can actually apply, males can use that as well, because the word guy types is just kind of a generic term. We're really talking about types. So, you could be a meaning seeker, male or female, or you could be an excitement seeker or security seeker, and it really does apply to either gender. And for example, the thinker and the feeler, 2/3 of males are thinkers and 2/3 of females are feelers, but they also have the opposite type. Some males are very sensitive and they're emotional, and some women are very logical. So it can go both ways. And the key is to, again, find out who you are and then find that person who's compatible with your type.
Now, if you said that most men are not feelers, and I'm a female who's a feeler, then I don't have many men out there who are similar to me. Is that what you're saying?
It's common to have a male thinker and a female feeler, and that can actually work out. In fact, any combination can work out in the thinker-feeler dimension if you appreciate that person's style and speak in their language. Right. So you remember the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus with Gray?
Yes.
And he endorsed my book. And the idea is that thinkers are also from a different planet, as are feelers. But you need to communicate that style. So, for example, a thinker could say to the feeler, "I really appreciate what you did for me," and that, so forth. Even though they may not feel it, they can think it. They can think about it. And the feeler can be very logical about things and maybe have a little sarcasm or witty wordplay because the thinker likes that. So each of the personalities can actually cater to each other in a certain way, knowing what the other person enjoys.
Right. I like that. Thank you so much, Dr. Alex. What a fun discussion. I loved your questions too. And you learned so much about me, which really illustrates to listeners that they can use those same questions to get to know someone else.
Exactly. So you can throw a great party, masquerade, and I can be the philosopher to talk about it.
That sounds super. Thank you so much. Wonderful to talk with you. And listeners, if you want to learn more about Dr. Alex and his latest book called Guy Types, or connect with him, his website is guytypes.com.
Yeah, Dr. Tara, I also have a website, loveuniversity.love, where I also have a podcast on loving yourself, others, and a higher nature, if listeners want to look into that.
Great. Give us that website one more
Oh,
time,
it's
Dr. Alex.
loveuniversity.love. And, basically a course on the inner love, loving yourself, others, and a higher nature, and kind of incorporates all the things we're talking about.
That sounds wonderful. I can't wait to check it out. Thank
Yes.
you.
That was a lot of fun. Dr. Orbuch is an amazing host. So if you learned something today, I want to hear from you, because many times people that listen to the show write us into us and ask us questions. You can reach us at lovetype4u@aol.com. That's LOVETYPE, the number 4, letter U at AOL. Call us at 310-226-8090, and also visit our website at loveuniversity.love. So it's that time again. Class is now in recess. Put away your pens, notepads, iBooks, computers. Until next time, Dr. Alex Avila, Love University.